Ladies and gentlemen, Niall Horan! How are you, man?
I'm good. How's things?
Good. Life is busy,
Yeah.
obviously.
Indeed.
The show, June 9th, everyone here super pumped for it. But, you know, you hear the excitement from the fans, you hear the excitement from the world. For you, Niall, what excites you about the show?
Well, first of all, I think it's the best stuff I've made as a cohesive body of work, and then just getting out and doing shows and doing things like this, getting around the world again. For someone that's been so used to doing so much travel and playing so many shows for so long, and then having not done it for a while, I'm pumped up and ready to go.
When it comes to making the album, how involved are you in the process of selecting what songs get put on the album, the order of the album artwork, the way production sounds? Do you have a team behind you, or are you like the guy that has the final say?
Oh yeah, I've got the final say, of course.
Yeah.
No, obviously we have a team. But I kind of get left alone. I make the record with the producers and whoever I write with, and then it all kind of kicks off after that. We have a creative director that's kind of helping me put everything together, all the imagery, all of the set designs that I've been doing, the videos, the color schemes, all that kind of thing. We've got a new creative director. He's brilliant. And we kind of work together on all that kind of stuff. And then picking the songs for the album, I knew I wanted to make a short, snappy album.
Yeah.
All my favorite albums are ones that you get to the end and you just want to go back to the start, instead of being like, get to track 12 and be like, when is this thing over?
Right. So tired.
Yeah. And I really wanted to have a good, like, an eclectic group of songs, and that had different meanings behind them that made up the world of the show. The show meaning like life.
Right.
And yeah, it was tough to make final decisions on some songs. Some songs might see the light of day in another record, maybe, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I might outright them again and they never get seen. But it's an exciting time.
Talk to me about the writing process, your mindset going into making an album. Are you the type of person, are you writing a lot throughout the year? Do you block off a certain amount of time? Like, for example, with the show, do you know that maybe summer of 2022, you're going to spend, June to September writing, September to December recording, and then December till March kind of finalizing things? What's your process like?
Generally, it's kind of blocked out like that, but with the pandemic...
Shoot, did I just give away the plan?
No, generally it's done like that, but with the pandemic, it was a bit more bitty and incremental.
Right.
And I wrote the first song, The Show, that song, I wrote that in like right in the middle of the lockdown at home on the piano, and then that's when it kind of kick-started, but I couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. And the Zoom writing wasn't working for me. So I just had to wait for the world to open up and get out there and go to LA and get we all meet up and do it that way. So that probably made everything last a little bit longer, just because the way the world was working. But generally I would try and keep it as, get it done in 6 months or, and then let all the lead time happen afterwards. But this album was just a little bit slower because of the pandemic.
Who is the show for? When you think about the project in its entirety and the process that you went through making this,
I think it's for me, and then it's for these guys, because I always say this, but I always try and write like introspectively, without alienating anyone, and trying to make it as relatable as I possibly can. Because sometimes you listen to some artists and it's like they needed a thesaurus to write this, and I've got no idea what they're saying. And
like, you want to call any of them out right now?
Yeah. How long have you got?
We have a long time, sir.
But I just always try and write how I'm feeling, write about things that I'm going through, but without being too specific to the point where no one has a clue what I'm saying.
Right.
So that's why it's for everyone, really.
Are these songs on the album, on the show, taken from your life? Do you write about stuff that maybe suggestions from like family and friends, just in conversations that you've had? Where do you get the inspiration for the writing of some of these songs? Which, by the way, I'm going to bring up a couple of tracks that stood out for me when listening to this album.
Yeah, I think it comes from everywhere, to be honest. Generally, it's a lot easier to, like, well, it's not easier, but it's when you're writing like heartbreak songs, it's very simple to sit down at a piano and write exactly like that. When you're not heartbroken, you have to find something else. And luckily there was a pandemic in a way, because I was sat there and had a lot of time to think. And I'd never sat still for that long. And there was just crazy stuff going on, you know, in life and in the world and in your head. And so you were right. I was writing different types of songs because of that.
Have you ever received like suggestions from fans on what might make a good song? For example, like someone may say, "Hey, I went through this heartbreak, or going through this thing in my life. It might be a good subject for a new song."
Not that I particularly know of, but I guess that's where it goes back to the relatable things. I think in relative terms, we all go through similar stuff. Like but very relatively. Like for me, it might be something, but they connect in some way. So we all have global problems.
Yeah. Tell me about "Never Never Grow Up." That song stood out to me. I love the production on it, but it tells a story of relationships, but not necessarily a relationship as a whole. More focusing on individual moments and like celebrating those moments. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I think it's a mixed bag. There's nothing better than watching a couple who have been together for a long time or whatever, and you're like, oh, I'd like that.
Right.
And then there's the other side of things where I come from a divorced family,
right,
where they don't even look at each other. So in that song, you hear both sides of what you would like to have and what you wouldn't like to have.
Right.
And that's it was a song that I kind of just came out. Had the piano line for a long time and didn't really know what the song was to it. And then I was thinking about this and just started. Yeah, I think the first line of the song is, "I never want to be like them."
Right.
You know what I mean?
"Save My Life" is another standout track, and this one seems to have been about someone who made an impact in your life. Mm-hmm. Is that, you care to share a little bit more on who that is, or the importance of that moment in your life?
Yeah, I think we all have kind of get that moment where that initial burst is just like the best thing ever. Yeah. And I talk about it a little bit in Heaven, in the first verse of Heaven, and Save My Life are derived from the same thought process. I guess like Save My Life is a big thing to say. Wouldn't necessarily like mean it,
right?
But like it's a rounder thought for a specific scenario. And it's a really cool experience to go through something like that and be able to write about it. And sometimes I've found previously that happy songs are hard to write.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's very easy to sit down, as I said, and write a ballad about how sad you are. But sometimes the happier songs are harder. And I actually found Save My Life a great write. It was good fun. It was like I had the groove, and then I just needed to say what I thought.
Are you critical of your own projects? Like once a project is done and it's submitted and you can't make any changes to it, and it's getting ready to be released to the world, right? Can you enjoy your own songs as is, or do you listen to them and say, "Oh man, maybe I could have like rewritten that part, or maybe that bit of production"?
Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
Like I could do that forever. Like I have to be pulled out of the studio.
Yeah.
To make sure I stop. I could rewrite everything.
At what point do you like sit back and you can breathe that sigh of relief where you know that, well, I can't make those changes?
Yeah, I remember when I wrote "You Could Start a Cult," I knew that was the album done. Like I was missing one type of vibe, and it was that. And I
Yeah.
just kind of said to the guys, I was like, give me a day. I need to go and write this thing. And I came back with that. And it was in my head, that was from writing the show and starting that concept. This was a way of rounding off, the square, if you like.
You've been around the world. You met like a ton of people. You've done a lot of things. Can you pinpoint one specific moment that stands out from your worldly travels? Something that means a lot, or maybe even the most?
Oh, God.
Maybe you've gone to a certain place in the world and you've seen something. You're like, oh man, like this. I'm never gonna forget this moment for the rest of my life.
Oh, I've had so many of those.
Yeah.
I've got a good memory too, so but coming up with specific scenarios is quite tough. I mean, some of the things I've been able to do in my career has been nuts.
Yeah.
The one, I suppose, the most recent one was going to the White House.
Okay.
I won't forget that anytime soon.
Right.
That was nuts. Some of the concerts I've been able to play, some of the stadiums that I've done, some of the arenas I've played, it's all just still kind of mind blown to me. It's if you get used to that, you've lost the plot.
What goes through your mind when you're standing in front of a crowd, performing in front of a crowd, and you look out and you know you don't even need to finish the song because the crowd is singing so loud, your own words back to you. Describe that feeling.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're a music fan, you're listening to music, you're singing along. It means something to you. You've attached it to something in your life. You're just singing along. But if you think about it from the artist's perspective, like I was there. I came up with the idea for it. I sat and played the first 4 chords. The words came out of my mouth, the melodies came, and I watched the song build into what it is. And then now I'm standing on a stage and the most mind-boggling one is when you're in a different country that don't even speak your language,
Right.
and they're able to sing back to you and have connected with it and have learned English through what you do or whatever. Like, there are the times you're like, what the f***? This is just nuts. It's a very good feeling.
When you are traveling and you're away from home, what is it that you miss the most about home when you're on the road? It could be something like, like your favorite food or your favorite restaurant or your own bed, right? When you spend so much of your time traveling outside of home.
Yeah, I remember I actually got my mattress from a hotel I used to stay in.
Oh,
It's not even a joke. My home mattress came from a hotel that we used to stay in on tour.
Yeah.
Still do, actually, because the mattress was so good. And it was a hotel I lived in for a while.
Yeah.
And I liked the mattress that much, I ended up getting one for my house. But yeah, oh God, I don't know. It's probably because I live nearly 2 separate lives in a way. I keep things very simple when I'm at home. I'm not out doing very extravagant things or anything. I do miss the simplicity sometimes. When you're in country to country, just show to show. Sometimes you're a bit like, I'd love to just do nothing today.
Yeah.
And just cook in the kitchen and go for a pint in the pub down the road, or things, just simple things like that. Miss the Guinness if I'm not outside of Ireland. But apart from that, yeah, I'm good with being on the road though.
Yeah.
I actually prefer. A lot of people don't really like touring. They find it stressful. I love it.
Do you have to, when you do go back home, do you have to keep it a secret so you don't feel obligated to go visit family or friends? Not that you don't love your family, but sometimes you want Niall time, you want to be just to have your own space, your own time. Do you ever have to do anything like that? Or feel like you have to do that?
Sometimes, yeah. When I go to Ireland, I try and keep it as secret as possible. Yeah, it can be hectic when you come from a country of less than 5 million people. Yeah, it can be, it can be all-consuming. But yeah, it's just something that I've gotten used to over the years.
Really quick for the Canadian fans who are watching, the Canadian fans who are here, the ones that are listening. What would you like to say? Because we didn't get a chance to delve into that just yet. Like a direct message to your fans, the people who know you, love you, excited about the album.
Yeah, no, I think you should be excited. First of all, this is a good era that we're in. It feels really good. Everything about it is feeling comfortable to me. I'll tell you one thing. I'm more driven and riled up than I've ever been. I think I'm more excited, probably because I had time to reflect and realize like what's happened over the last 13 years. So I just I'm more like fired up to do the best at whatever it is I'm doing, put on the best show. So I think based off that, everyone should be excited, and I'm ready to go. And when I come back here, please come and watch.
Oh, of course.
And thanks for sticking around. It's been a few years, but you're still here, thankfully. And hopefully you are for a while.
Right? Woo! Of course. Once the show is out there in the world, what do you plan on doing next? Is there a stage show that's already planned? Be announcing a tour? Or are you going to just take some time to yourself to chill?
Oh no, I won't be chilling. I've done a bit of that. I've done some of that. No, we're sticking the tour together at the moment. Yeah. Like in between interviews. It's chats and stuff with agents and things like that about tours and routings and all of this behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. So we'll definitely be going on tour for sure. Because the fact that I haven't toured since 2018 is just nuts to me, considering how much touring I did up until that point. So I'm ready to put the best show on. I've got 3 records to play. The band is great. I'm just excited to get going.
Yeah. When getting ready to release this album and you're thinking about a tour, do you already have a vision set? Like know how songs are going to flow into one another? Do you know what the stage show is going to look like?
Yeah, I've got a fair idea.
Yeah.
As you're kind of making the record, you're like, okay, what sort of show would suit this music and what I already have, and you're kind of mapping it out in your head. And I know I've got a fair idea. We're doing festivals this summer, so I've got a set built for that, and the set list is already done for that, and I might throw in a few bits and pieces as we go. But the tour, when it comes, will be, it's going to be an amazing show. I've got good plans. Do
you, when it comes to touring, do you find out who else is in town or maybe in town in and around the same time and invite that individual to join you on stage?
Oh yeah, I would love
special
to.
Set. Yeah.
Yeah. Of
Anybody
course.
you have in mind?
Well, it depends where we are, I suppose. Yeah, of course. If any of people that I know are in town and are coming to the gig, I'll always offer it up, whether they take me up on it or not. Is another thing. They might want to just come and have a few drinks and enjoy the gig. But I'll always ask the question.
Yeah. What about future collaborations? Like, have you reached out to anyone to say, hey, I think this song would be great for us to be on?
Yeah, there's something that I'm looking at. I think the pandemic was a pain for that. Like I'm big on like being in the room with someone and potentially writing the song from scratch. And sometimes like schedules don't permit that. But I will always try and I think that I would love to do more collabs. It's just schedules are horrible.
Yeah. Do you write songs knowing that maybe a potential of someone that you really want on that track to be on it, that you're holding back for a just in case we can get the schedules lined up?
Yeah, there's always a couple that are flying around that I've got in my head that would be like, oh, that person would sound sick on that, or their writing would match up to how I write. And
care to share?
Huh? No, of course not.
Does it rhyme with med smearing?
No.
Perhaps.
I wish.
Another brilliant songwriter and performer. Well, listen, man, everyone here, we're excited about the album, the show. We're excited that you're excited about it, and especially
you don't look excited.
We're I think everyone's super nervous right now, right? And we're excited to hear you play live, ladies and gentlemen. Niall Horan, the show out on June 9th.